Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Vintage Cube Draft League. I love playing Vintage Cube so much. I kind of want to take Mystic Confluence because it is a pretty broken card. Blue is probably not going to be open, though, and this is more of a controlling blue card than it is anything else. I have used it as a draw spell in like Mono Blue Storm before. Other options are like Grim Monolith, which goes, I think, in more decks. There's Sneak Attack, Mishra's Workshop. Like, I could take Grim Monolith and try and wheel Mishra's Workshop. But I think I just drafted that deck, and I like Sneak Attack, but I'm going to take the Mystic Confluence. It's fun to be in blue, if blue is open. And if we want to play, like, Esper Control, I could take a Kaito. Shizuki, otherwise, let's see, what's a powerful card in this pack? Trinket Mage is great if you have, like, Black Lotus, Soul Ring, Moxen make Trinket Mage pretty decent. Ugin is a top-end card. It's better when you cheat it out. I would probably take it if I had taken Grim Monolith. There's nothing super interesting to me in this pack. Like, Imperial Seal is kind of fine, but I think I'm going to take the Cloudskate. Cloudskate frequently sees play in, like, the Control archetype for this draft format, so... Okay, there's Remand. There's a Signet. It's not a blue Signet. There's a Soulfire Grandmaster, which would be great if we get Time Warp or Time Walk. Yeah, I'm going to take Remand. It's not really a control card, but it is powerful and it is blue, so can't really argue. There's not a lot of blue coming around in packs, so we'll see. I can take Colonnade. Colonnade's a pretty decent control win condition. There's also Mystical Tutor. And Colonnade's likely to wheel because it only really goes in this deck. So unless somebody else is trying to draft the deck that I'm sort of trying to draft. Whereas Mystical Tutor and Sensei's Divining Top go into more decks. So I can have a Divining Top or a Mystical Tutor. The problem is I don't actually like playing with Top. It's really tedious. It's incredibly strong, but... I don't know, it's irritating for me to play, and I'll frequently forget to spin it and stuff, so I think I'm just going to take Tutor and hope we get good stuff to tutor for. Like, Mystical Tutor for Mystic Confluence is not bad, but anytime that you have to alert your opponent to the fact that you just got a counterspell makes counterspells worse. So, like, there is that consideration. And, like, we could still end up playing Storm. Like, that is, all of these cards can be played in a Storm deck. Except maybe Riftwing Cloudskate. A little bit less, but like, Suspend still does help with Storm because it helps you cast an additional spell, but... Okay, there's a Tolarian Academy. There's an Underground Sea, a Cabal Ritual, and a Tezzeret the Seeker. So, if we wanted to, like, take a control card, we could take Winds of Abandon or Tezzeret. We can take Tolarian Academy, and then if we open up power, Tolarian Academy gets way better. There's an Underground Sea, which, like, if Kaito were to wheel, we could then play if we take Underground Sea, like, much more easily. And there's a Cabal Ritual. And I don't think Cabal Ritual will be, like, last pick or anything. And there's 2 Artifacts cards in this pack. I think I'm just going to take Underground Sea because black is a great color pairing for blue, and, you know, if we get High Tide, we can do High Tide things. This is not a Birthing Pod deck. I mean, if I don't play Riftwing Cloudskate, like, we could play a Lurrus deck. That might be kind of interesting. Lingering Souls is a control card. It can be aggressive as well, but, like, it's a decent control threat. There's a Hangerback Walker, which if I had taken, like, Grim Monolith Tolarian Academy, I could take Hangerback. I don't know that this is going to be the Lurrus stipulation. Phantasmal Image is good, but I think it's better in an aggressive deck. And we don't really have any cheap permanents right now to recycle with Lurrus, but, like, other than that, I'm taking a Shriekmaw. I guess I'll take a Lurrus, and we'll see what we get a hold of here. So there's a Tendrils. I can take Tendrils, and then if the Storm cards start wheeling from the next pack on, we can play Storm. Otherwise, I can just take Daze and have a decent, like, tempo counter spell. And Daze is really good. Especially if we're playing, like, Lurrus tempo things. That could be really, really good. I'm going to take Tendrils. Missing out on Daze. There's a Mind's Desire and a Worn Power Stone. Okay, well, let's take Mind's Desire, and maybe we're playing Storm. Young Pyro, there's a Raugrin Triome. I can do a Knight's Whisper here. There's a Bone Shards, which I would play in Control. I would play in Reanimator, which we could still be a Reanimator deck as well. We're kind of open. Because like all of these cards, except for Tendrils and Mind's Desire, can be played in other decks. And Mind's Desire you could even play in Reanimator. There's Wishclaw Talisman. I'm not really playing a Beaumont Courier. Not really playing a Vampire Hexmage. We'll take the Talisman. Custody Lich we could play in a control deck. Otherwise we get to play Colonnade. And I think I would take Colonnade. It kind of synergizes with Luris. We're not really a Smokestack deck. Cabal Ritual came around. It was passed around the table once and then like another half rotation. So I'm going to take Cabal Ritual. We can take Shriekmaw. And we can take Skyclave Shade. So Storm's looking kind of open. Blue is not super open, but we can't. It's open enough that we can play it, especially because we got some of the good blue cards. Apologies, I haven't had all my coffee this morning. Okay, pack 2, there's a Soul Ring. And you can play Soul Ring in Storm. It technically is mana positive. It's definitely better if you have Signets, or like good 3-drops to cheat out quickly. If I don't take Soul Ring, I could take Sedgemoor Witch or Shark Typhoon or Chartacourse. We don't really have any early attacking creatures, so Chartacourse is not as good. I think I'm going to take Soul Ring. I'll play Soul Ring in just about any deck. It's definitely better in some decks where you can cheat out particularly either two colorless cost 2-drops or like 1 color mana, 2 colorless cost 3-drops. I like Repeal more than I like Force Negation here. There's a Xander's Lounge, which is a swamp island. There's Damnation if we want to be Storm or Control, which probably will wheel. So we'll take Repeal. I don't know about Luris. We'll see. Grief, Mana Leak, Reanimate, Ancient Tomb, Basalt Monolith, Wheel of Fortune, and Past in Flames. I'm going to take Mana Leak because blue seems to be a little bit cut, but like there's no way I'm not playing blue at this point. I'm hoping to Wheel of Fortune or Past in Flames. If one of these 2 cards comes around, we'll probably be in Storm. If Reanimate comes around, we're going to have to start looking for Reanimator stuff. But there's a bunch of good cards in this pack. So I'll just take the one that I know I'm playing, and we'll kind of have to see what comes around. Ketria Triome doesn't really help. There's a Dark Confidant, but we're playing a little too high on the curve for that. I could take Splinter Twin, and like maybe we could go into a Splinter Twin combo if I find a Deceiver Exarch or a Pestermite, which I have not yet seen. I'm gonna take Bazaar on the off chance Reanimate comes around, because like there's nothing else in this pack I really want. There's a Gilded Drake, Murderous Rider, Mere Battlesphere. There's Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze is a Storm win condition, and I think I'm going to take it. Yeah, I think Brain Freeze is the best card for our deck. There's Yogwill. Okay, I like Yogwill. Dismember's okay, but we really need Yogwill, and this like frees us up from having to have Past in Flames. It's also the superior effect in most situations, because like you can replay Black Lotus and LED off of it. Okay, there's Packrat, Voidwalker, Murktide Regent, and Badlands. Badlands could help us splash if we get a black fetch and end up with like Past in Flames or Thousand Year Storm. I could take Murktide Regent as a like control win condition speculation. We're not really a Douthie Voidwalker deck, and we're not really a Packrat deck, though if we end up kind of forced into Reanimator, Packrat is a discard outlet. That's something that should be mentioned. I think I am going to take the Packrat. Turnabout's pretty huge, so it's looking like the control blue cards are not coming around, but the Storm blue cards are. So really all we need is like Frantic Search and High Tide, and then this becomes a much better deck. Sedgemoor Witch. Sedgemoor Witch is a sort of win condition with Storm, because we can just cast a bunch of spells and make a bunch of 1/1 pests, I suppose. Damnation came around, so I will take Damnation. I think Dark Depths is in this iteration of the cube, So we could take Thespian Stage Dark Depths, though I would definitely take Dark Depths first. But Damnation is like potentially a great sideboard. Since I have Yogg-Will, I think I want Wheel of Fortune over Past in Flames. There are other draw 7s. There are not other Past in Flames effects. But I may not be playing red at all. And the draw 7 I think is more important. There's a Heartbeat of Spring, which we're probably not playing. I don't know that I like Gilded Drake, so I'll take an Unholy Heat just to maybe have some interaction. I guess a land tax, because I'm not playing Koth. Okay, pack 3. Reanimate did not come around, and we haven't really seen any large creatures, so it's probably pretty likely that someone else is in Reanimator. So we don't need to like worry about picking Shallow Grave. We can, I think, it's just at this point focus on Storm. We do not have High Tide. We do not have a fetch land for Underground Sea, so we should be focused on trying to get those cards. There's an Azorius Signet and a Memory Deluge. Memory Deluge I could see being really good in a Storm deck to dig you to your win condition, but only if you have like tons and tons of mana. Otherwise, I think this is a control card. Thirst for Discovery is probably better, because we can discard cards that we want to Yogg-Will back, or we can discard like a land we don't need. We can use this during the setup phase a little bit easier than Memory Deluge. And Memory Deluge I don't think we're ever flashing back. The alternative is like Walking Ballista or Azorius Signet. Azorius Signet is better because we do have Soul Ring, but I kind of like the Thirst, so I'm going to take the Thirst here. There's Probe. There's Polluted Delta, Scalding Tarn. We only have one Island Swamp, so like Polluted Delta here would be very good. This is not really a Mind Sculptor deck. This is not really a Seagate Stormcaller deck. Someone else... It depends on whether we want Probe or whether we want Polluted Delta. And I would almost certainly take Polluted Delta here, under almost any other circumstances, but I do not have High Tide, and I only have one Ritual. So if I'm going to try and like force Storm at this point, I want something that's going to get me a card and be free. Like a single free Storm count is going to be huge in a deck like this. So I think I'm going to take Probe. Okay, there's LED. I'm not going to pass an LED. Somebody might get some bright ideas. Dark Slick Shores is not really the fixing you want in a Storm deck. I've kind of explained it before, but we really want island duels because of High Tide. Now, we don't have High Tide, but there's still the possibility we could get it in this pack. Verdant Catacombs can get Underground Sea, but we're going to take LED. LED is just... it helps with the mana situation so much. So there's a Bolas's Citadel and an Echo of Eons, and to a lesser extent a Cryptic Command. We do not have Time Spiral, so it's likely that somebody has Time Spiral and High Tide. I think because of that, I have Mind's Desire. I think I want Bolas's Citadel here. It is triple black, which will be very difficult to cast. Otherwise, I could take Echo of Eons and like maybe... like the draw 7 is nice, and being able to flash it back for a draw 7 out of the grave is super nice as well. But we don't have a lot of Signets. If we get Signets, it does get better. I'm going to be pretty heavy black, so I think I'm going to take the Bolas's Citadel. Portent is good, but only during like our setting up for combo phase. At no other time is it going to be good. There's a Lotus Bloom. Lotus Bloom goes really well with Citadel, both as a suspend card and a card you can cast for 0 life off the top. So I think I'm going to take the Lotus Bloom over the Portent. There's Time Spiral. We still don't have High Tide, and at this point I don't think we're likely to see it. But Time Spiral is a very good Storm card, so I'm going to take Time Spiral. There's a Memory Jar. There's a Birgi. Birgi also helps with the mana, but does say, like, we'd have to splash red. Otherwise, we can just take this 5-mana colorless draw 7. I could take Exploration as well. That wouldn't be a bad card to try and splash. But Memory Jar is by far the easier of all of these. We're just going to have mana difficulties. I'm going to take Birgi. I don't know that I'm going to play red, especially now that there's going to be like no fixing left, but there's Ignite Memories. Ignite Memories is one of those cards that like can potentially kill your opponent with low Storm count. It's a really weird inclusion in this cube. But the problem is, versus almost any deck, they're going to like dump their hand very quickly. And versus Control, which is not going to do that, you're still not going to be in a very good spot. I'll take Duretti. I guess I take a Thrawn Dynamo. We will not be getting a High Tide, unfortunately. Crucible's good if we can get, like, a couple fetches, but I'm pretty sure that, like, none of them are going to wheel. There's a Crop Rotation, which doesn't help. Mentor is technically a win condition, but we're not playing white. So I'll take Chupacabra, that's potential interaction. Echo of Eons came around, so at least we can draw 7 a bunch of times. We have, like, no big creatures, or we could be, like, Oathstorm. I will take Portent at this point. So no High Tide. There's an Underworld Breach. I keep forgetting that this card is in this version of the cube. We have, like, every draw 7. And no way to take advantage of any of them. Yeah, I didn't even see Mana Flare. So we're going to have a little bit of trouble actually trying to win. So we're not playing Bazaar, we're not playing Colonnade. We have Underground Sea and no fetch lands. Oh, I have Heartbeat of Spring. I completely forgot about Heartbeat of Spring. That actually matters a ton. Oh, but the problem is I don't have any way to make green very effectively at all. But, like, I have to play this card, because the effect makes our deck so much better. But I don't even have a Manamorphose. Like, that's a pretty big deal. I should have taken that Exploration, or that Verdant Catacombs. So let's see. I need to cut about 4 cards. I do have Brain Freeze, Remand Brain Freeze as a win condition. If I, like, don't end up remanding an opponent's spell. Damnation can probably be sideboarded, as can Chupacabra. I don't know that I really want Sedgemoor Witch or Cloudscape, and I don't really need Bone Shards either. Like, we can just have Mana Leak Remand as our interaction. Man, if this deck had High Tide, it would be so good. Like, this deck would be, like, almost the perfect mono blue Storm deck. Because, like, imagine if our Heartbeat of Spring was blue and 1 mana. Like, it would be so much better. We wouldn't have this super awkward mana problem. The one thing we do have going for us is we have a decent amount of draw power. Like, we have Echo of Eons, Time Spiral, Repeal, Mystic Confluence, Thirst for Discovery, which we're going to have a lot of extra basics anyway. We have Wishclaw Talisman, Night's Whisper, Probe, and Portent. So, like, we should be able to get through our deck reasonably quickly. I think I'm going to drop Riftwing Cloudskate. So we're just going to go no creatures, all storm. Okay. 1 green source? And other than that, I have Lotus Bloom and LED off of, like, Yogwill to play Heartbeat of Spring. And I would have to tutor for it. I really think... Oh, that's kind of disgusting. How am I ever going to play a triple black Bolas' Citadel without a Tinker? I could play, like, Bazaar Crucible to get through the deck faster. But I think that's better if, like, we had a different backup game plan. I guess I can Cabal Ritual into Bolas' Citadel. I think I actually have to... I don't have High Tide, so I don't need to, like, focus on islands. I need a pretty decent number of them, but I don't need to focus on it. I think I'm going to run 2 forests. Hopefully I don't have draw power to hit them in a reasonable amount of time. Alright, yeah, let's play High Tideless High Tide. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, this hand is not keepable, unfortunately. We do need, like, at least 2 mana, and one of it needs to be blue. That sort of hits the requirement that I was asking for. I guess I can put back Tendrils. If we draw green mana, this is going to be a pretty quick, like, storm off, I guess. Okay, opponent plays a forest into a Hex Drinker. Disgusting. But we're not worried about interacting at the moment, so... If we just, like, draw up to 8 cards and discard Echo, we can at least, like, Time Twist, but... Okay, opponent levels up Hex Drinker once. So this is going to be, I think, a short clock, and I think their game plan is just, like, maximum Hex Drinker, which is fine. We can delay 1 turn by, like, turnabouting their lands. Or turnabouting Hex Drinker to give ourselves 1 extra turn. So if they play an untapped land, they can get it all the way to 6 and we're dead in 3 turns. Okay, there's black mana, which I will play out 1 of. High Tide is, like I said, High Tide makes you focus on playing islands first all the time, and this is such a High Tide deck that I'm kind of like autopiloting into it. Okay, opponent plays a 9 mana 1-drop. We get hit down to 8. We draw an island. Okay, play an island, pass the turn. If they play a red land and animate Raging Ravine, we have to turn about their creatures. Okay, they play a Goldspan Dragon, so we have to turn about their creatures. So creature, tap. We untap, we draw an Underground Sea. We're going to concede. I don't want them to know exactly what we have going on, but it should be pretty obvious. I guess this means we're bringing in Damnation. I probably should have, like, Ravenous Chupacabra or Bone Shards. Bone Shards being a discard outlet for Echo of Eons would have really worked out in that last game, I think. And it's probably better than Portent. So, need to cut one card for Damnation. I guess Mana Leak, they are... Mana Leak's good, though. Yeah, I guess Mana Leak. Alright, I would like to play first. Okay, we've got Bone Shards, Repeal, Remand. So if our opponent starts Hex Drinker again, we at least have some ways to interact with it. Start with an island, pass the turn. We also have green mana, so like if we do get to our mana doubler, we will be able to actually do something about it. I can repeal land tax and just draw a card. Actually, yes, because they might be relying on getting lands from land tax. Okay, opponent plays a tap land, and they play a land tax. We draw an island. Yeah, we're going to have to play out lands, and our opponent's going to get land tax triggers, but at least this is slow. Problem is, land tax is going to fix their mana and guarantee land drops for the rest of the game. So we kind of need to get a move on. Opponent picks Forest, Island, Mountain. They play an island. They play an unlicensed Hearse. I am actually going to remand that. We draw another land, which is not great. We do want to Yogwill, and Hearse does take cards out of our grave over time. But a nice thing about remanding here is that they did land tax up to 10 cards in hand and only played one card this turn. So they discard Mountain and Memory Deluge. We draw Bolus's Citadel, which we're actually really close to just hardcasting Bolus's Citadel. And that could be pretty good. Opponent skips the land tax trigger for the turn. Presumably they're going to play a forest because that's the land we know about, unless they have something with hard color requirements that they need to meet, or they're just not paying attention. Okay, they play Unlicensed Hearse. They play a forest, and they pass. We untap and draw a Yogwill. Play an island. Pass the turn. Okay, they eat our graveyard. They untap. Land tax. If we draw a swamp, we'll play Citadel. If we don't draw a swamp, we might Time Spiral. I really don't want to if I can avoid it. They crew the Unlicensed Hearse to get in some damage. Thankfully, it's pretty small right now. Okay, they play an island for Tracker. We untap and draw Probe. Okay. Let's Probe. See what's going on over there. Because if they have a really good hand, we might just want a Time Spiral. Let's see. They have Tinker? That's not good. Hullbreaker, Horror. Glenalandra Archmage is a pain. Yeah, this might be a, like, Mind's Desire moment. Or a Time Spiral moment. Let's see. What can I do? I can play a Forest. I can play Soul Ring using green. That puts me up at 7, so then I can, like, Bone Shards, discarding Citadel to kill Tracker. And I could Time Spiral, untap all my lands, or I can Mind's Desire and try and cast 4 stuff. Or 4 things. I think what I'm going to do is Time Spiral, though, because then I can untap, have all of my colors of mana, and potentially, like, draw Mind's Desire again. Yeah, so play Soul Ring. And I'm going to do this now because the cards that I have in my grave will go back into my deck. And they can't, like, eat them out of the grave with Unlicensed Hearse because they attacked with it. Opponent cracks a clue to draw a card. Yeah, alright, let's Time Spiral. Hope we get a really good hand here. The other thing about Mystical Tutor in this particular deck is we cannot Mystical Tutor for High Tide then draw it, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So opponent has 28 cards in their deck right now, so we need to get to storm count of 10 to kill them. So I can Mystical Tutor, Knight's Whisper, draw something, play it. That's storm count of 7, 8. That puts them pretty close to dead. It kind of depends on what cards I can grab off Tutor here. That would be better. I can't get Remand. Remand and Repeal are gone. Because otherwise Repeal Soul Ring is technically mana neutral. It just filters into colorless. Let's see what we got. Oh, I can Mystical Tutor for Probe. I can Mystical Tutor for Turnabout. I can Mystical Tutor for Tendrils, but that requires the same storm count. I think I'm going to go with Probe. Oh, we drew Cabal Ritual too? That's actually quite good. So Probe. We draw Bone Shards. I can Cabal Ritual into Brain Freeze, and that almost kills them, and then we have Damnation Bone Shards to try and survive while they draw out. So storm count of 9. Let's hope they don't have a big Eldrazi. They do have a Blightsteel Colossus, which they did reveal one time. So we milled 1 less, 2 less, 3 less than they actually had. So they have 4 cards left in their deck. As long as they don't Tinker, which is in their grave, okay. As long as we can dodge Tinker. Oh, I should have kept track of what was actually in their hand. I didn't even look. They are an Omnath deck, which explains the varied colors of mana. If they play a single threat, we Bone Shards. If they play a bunch of threats, we Damnation. So they investigate. The real kicker would be like, oh, I happen to have Thassa's Oracle. Like, you know. At least they don't have like a 10 mana Eldrazi or something that's going to shuffle their graveyard back in. They crew Unlicensed Hearse. They attack us for 2, sure. We go to 10. Okay. We untap. We draw a Turnabout. Turnabout is excellent because it's like literally just a fog. So I'm going to play a Swamp. I'm going to Bone Shards the Tracker again. We can't cast Echo of Eons because our opponent just like... it would completely defeat the purpose of Brain Freezing. Okay. You can land tax trigger if you want, opponent. They don't. No surprise there. They play a land. They play Glen Elandra Archmage. That actually is kind of painful. I don't think I was supposed... I could have just turnabouted their lands on their upkeep. I could turnabout artifacts right now, and then they can't attack this turn. Okay. We untap, we draw a Swamp. This is crew 2, so if I Damnation, they persist, or they just sack it, and we... they can't crew it with the persisted creature. Because it's a 1/1. That could matter. But at the very least, it shrinks Glen Elandra, so even if they do have another creature that can crew Unlicensed Hearse, we only take 1 damage instead of 2. We have to survive 2 attacks. Okay, they're just eating stuff out of the grave this turn. They hit us for 1. We go to 9. We untap. We draw Bolus's Citadel. That's pretty scary. Maybe they counter this. There's a Heartbeat of Spring on top of our deck, which we're not going to cast. We're just going to pass. They don't have a big flash creature. So I guess if they have Endurance and can Endurance themselves, we die, probably. Eureka. They put Blightsteel. I'm not going to put any permanents onto the battlefield. Okay, so they have Eureka, Tinker, Blightsteel, which means I probably need Mana Leak for like a quick Tinker, because otherwise I have basically no way to deal with Blightsteel. They can hit me for 5, and I go to 4. Okay, we untap, draw a Heartbeat, play a Forest off the top of our deck, play an LED off the top of our deck. I don't want to play a Wishclaw Talisman. They are technically playing red, and we've not seen a Lightning Bolt, so we're just going to pass. If they have a way to shuffle cards back into their deck, we're just gonna scoop them, because we can't do anything. All right, we got him. That was close. It was really close. Alright, Mana Leak is coming back in because Blightsteel Colossus is a card. What would I take out in that situation? Like maybe Thron Dynamo? Colorless Mana did not seem all that good. I mean, Soul Ring was good because it was mana positive, which allowed us to get a little extra storm count, but like... I guess I could Riftwing Cloudskate a Blightsteel back into hand, but like, if they have a quick Tinker, we're just dead. Like, unless I can Mana Leak Tinker, we are dead. So, I will give myself that option by putting Mana Leak in the deck. Actually, this hand is pretty good. It's not interactive if they have Tinker, but I'm not gonna... I can't play around that if I have a decent hand. We can suspend Lotus Bloom, and we have LED Yogwill and Bone Shards to protect this hand. I can Wishclaw Talisman for, like, a Time Spiral. Opponent starts Colonnade. Okay, we draw Time Spiral. So suspend Lotus Bloom, play an island, pass the turn. Opponent plays a land tax. Are they just going to sandbag lands? Because, like, I have a Lotus Bloom on suspend. I don't need to play a land here. So I'm just going to pass for a turn. And I'll let my opponent take the land advantage here. Oh, okay. We draw Cabal Ritual. I will play a land now to avoid having to discard. Although I could just play Lion's Eye Diamond. But I kind of want that for storm count. I'll play out Underground Sea. I'm going to have to give him a land tax trigger. Oh, I should have played out Wishclaw Talisman there. That's a mistake. So they play an island, which is not one of the cards they fetched. And they play Unlicensed Hearse. Yeah, I was definitely supposed to play Wishclaw this turn. Or this last turn. Opponent discards an island. Yeah, they were just sandbagging lands because they needed to fix mana for some reason. Okay. Cast a Lotus Bloom. We draw a Swamp. Let me think about this. I can play a Forest. I can Cabal Ritual, play LED. Can I kill them here? That's the question. I can do a lot, but can I kill them? So, I have a Lotus Bloom. So I have 6 mana. I can Cabal Ritual to 7. I can play Wishclaw Talisman. I can play LED. Be at 5 mana. I can cast Yogwill, having 2 mana left over. I can crack LED in response, getting 1 single card out of my deck. Then I can replay LED. Or actually, I can replay LED, crack it for mana, recast Cabal Ritual, then activate Wishclaw. I think that's like storm count of 7. I think that works. So, cast LED, play a land, Cabal Ritual, Wishclaw Talisman, crack Lotus Bloom for blue? No, for black. For blue. We crack Lotus Bloom for blue. We hold control, Yogwill to maintain priority. We ditch our hand, adding black mana. Yogwill happens. Oh, they can take 2 cards out of my grave. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, okay. I mean, this is still fine-ish. We can play LED again. Then we can crack it for blue. Wishclaw Talisman, floating 6 mana. Okay, what can I do here? I can cast a Bolas's Citadel. I can cast Mind's Desire, which is, I think, the correct choice. Otherwise, I can mill them for 21, which is not enough. Yeah, I think we Mind's Desire here. Cast Mind's Desire. 7 spells is a pretty good Mind's Desire. Heartbeat of Spring. Thirst for Discovery. Anything we discard off Thirst is going to be lost forever. I think this is lethal. So, Probe. We get a Bolas's Citadel. Cast Heartbeat. Cast Thirst. Discarding a basic land. We can then Brain Freeze you and win with Tendrils. Yeah, opponent needed to take LED out of the grave. That's the card they needed to exile, so I think opponent actually made a big mistake. I guess if they didn't... They needed to take LED Time Spiral, not Time Spiral Cabal Ritual. Because I had a Demonic Tutor on board. They have one card left in their deck, and it's Blightsteel. Alright, we got there. We stormed our way into victory. Like, if we had had High Tide, this deck would be so much better. Like, we kind of had to derp around a little bit into Storm, but... Oh, man. It's a good Storm deck. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, welcome to round 2. This is a mulligan. This I can actually keep, and I think I have to put back a Turnabout. Actually, I think I needed to keep Turnabout. We'll play an island, suspend Lotus Bloom. We're going to need this Lotus Bloom to resolve to get green, though, most likely. Because we need to, like, cast Lotus Bloom, play Heartbeat, Time Spiral. Oh, gosh, our opponent is a turbo white deck. Oh, okay. Okay, this is going to be like Mox Pearl Thalia, and it'd be like, alright, good game. Like, we're just not beating that. Play an island. Pass the turn. Like, oh my gosh, I about had a heart attack. Whew. This is not a turbo mono white deck. Is this an Omnath deck again? Urza. So this is artifacts. Okay. So there's the potential for them to have, like, some pretty major counterspell action going on. We'll play a swamp, pass the turn. Hopefully they don't have a counterspell for our Heartbeat or Time Spiral. We're hoping to dodge. Oh no. I can't cast my Lotus Bloom! Oh, this jerk! Oh. Teferi's a disgusting Magic card. We attack for 3. I've said this before on, like, several different occasions, but, like, if Teferi only had his +1 and his -3, if the static ability was gone, he would still be playable in Modern. He wouldn't be as good, he wouldn't see as much play, but he would still be strong enough to see play in the Modern format. Like, ah, man. Alright, well, play Thron Dynamo, I guess. If we draw a forest... Like, we're not under a ton of pressure yet. As long as our opponent is not, like, stacked with counterspells, we might be able to portent into a forest. And if we do, then we can, like, play Heartbeat off of Thron Dynamo. No! No! Stop taxing my hand! I'm trying to storm! They take Portent? I mean, I can at least still... Oh my gosh. Winter Orb? I guess I'm glad I played Thron Dynamo, but like, yeah, I have to play Portent. I need stuff. Cabal Ritual. I'm nowhere near Threshold, so that doesn't work. I think we need to shuffle and like draw a land. Oh, but it's not like Ponder. We don't get it this turn. Oh man. Oh, this is devastating. Okay, Soul Ring is good. Soul Ring is good. I think we're going to be dead before we can cast anything. Because, like, if we can cast a Time Spiral, we, like, might have a chance. But we're not going to have double blue unless I top deck an island. Okay, they play Golos, so they're a Golos deck. And this is to power up the Construct token prior to them attacking. Yeah, we were, like, so set up if this Lotus Bloom would just come off Suspend, but Teferi is a messed up Magic card and it's just not good for me. So we take 9 and go to 3. They uptick Teferi. We need blue mana, and if we top deck an island, we can Time Spiral. We did not top deck an island. Because I could Soul Ring for 4 mana, play an island, and Time Spiral, but we didn't get it. Oh man. I was worried about Thalia, but I ran into something so much worse. Bone Shards can kill Teferi. Damnation can help because this is a very heavy creature deck. Chupacabra we might want. They are a Winter Orb deck. Do I want Cloud Skate? I don't have a way to deal with any artifacts at all. I don't know that I want Portent. I have Repeal, I guess. Thron Dynamo feels awkward, but like, Thron Dynamo we can at least maybe cast some stuff under a Winter Orb. Man, Maybe I take out Lotus Bloom, but like Lotus Bloom is one of our only ways to get mana. I don't think I can take out Lotus Bloom. It's so, like, if this was Black Lotus, we could Yogg-Will it back and it would be so good. The fact that we can't Yogg-Will this back kind of hurt the last game too, but... not this last game, but the game last match. Yeah, it might be Thrawn Dynamo. Okay, let's try it like this, I guess. I would like to play first. Okay, alright, there's some carding happening here. Some things. We'll play an island. I can Mystical Tutor. We have a ritual. So how do I get more mana so I can cast Bolas' Citadel? I get like Mystical Tutor for Night's Whisper here, which is a +0 cards, +1 cards maybe. I don't think I Mystical Tutor yet. Okay, Forest is good. Forest means we can play Heartbeat of Spring. So I might be Mystical Tutoring for Turnabout as a ritual to cast Citadel. Opponent is just playing the all-tap land strategy right now. I guess I suspend Bloom, though it's probably going to get Teferi'd. Opponent untaps, plays a white mana source. Yeah, there's Teferi. I can get Bone Splinters to deal with Teferi. Or Bone Shards, I mean. Bone Splinters is what came before Bone Shards. Or I can get Repeal, but then they just replay him. Yeah, okay. We'll take Bone Shards. Oh, but I'd have to discard my Swamp, I think. Because there's still no guarantee that Lotus Bloom resolves. Could you imagine, like, if I Bone Shards this, and then they just, like, Black Lotus Sun Titan get it back? Because I guess Cabal Ritual... If I discard the Swamp, I have to Cabal Ritual to play Bolas' Citadel, but I'm probably going to have to do that anyway. If I discard the Forest and Lotus Bloom gets countered, I'm never getting a Heartbeat onto the battlefield, so... I am going to discard Swamp. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a Mountain and an Urza. Okay. One turn till Lotus Bloom. We draw a Swamp. So we can Cabal Ritual Bolas' Citadel. Which, at this point, is probably worth it. They're tapped out, so unless they have Force... Oh, Damnation? We're casting a Damnation. We can play Wishclaw Talisman. Mind's Desire Storm count 4? Count me in. I can't repeal anything. So we get Brain Freeze. No instants to cast off the top. Oh yeah, if we hit an instant in between Mind's Desire resolutions, we can cast them for free. Okay. There's an LED and an island. So I can play Lion's Eye Diamond. I can crack LED for a color of mana and Wishclaw Talisman for something. I will play Heartbeat of Spring. I'm 1 mana short of going and getting Yogg-Will and playing it. But I am going to... What is in my deck? What do I have that's cheap? I took Portent out, I think, right? Yeah, Portent is out. I can crack for black and go get Night's Whisper. I could... No, I can't repeal anything, because I can't repeal Lion's Eye Diamond. I'm just like 1 mana short of killing them now. We've cast Cabal Ritual. I can go get Soul Ring. That's something I can cast regardless of what color I get, so... I think it's blue. Blue or black. Black, actually, with Night's Whisper, gives me a chance to get another spell on top of my deck, and as long as it costs less than 6, I can cast it. Okay, let's go get Night's Whisper. Oh, there's Probe. Okay. Okay. Opponent scooped. We got there. Somehow. Yeah, alright, run it back. Bone Shards MVP right there. Mystical Tutor Bone Shards. Something that is a combination of cards I've never cast. I think it's important to call those out, because sometimes, like, it's much sweeter when you can cast stuff that's like, why is that being cast in the same turn as this spell under any circumstances, right? But, like... that is not a line I have ever taken. And it's important to remember that that's what Vintage Cube is about sometimes. It's about lines that you have never otherwise taken. Let's see. I'm probably playing a Soul Ring this turn. Do I want to probe? I can save probe for when I'm going off, or I can just probe now. I'm probably, because of the particular construction of this deck, supposed to save it for when I combo off to make sure the coast is clear. But my opponent doesn't seem to have counter spells. They just seem to be playing blue for, like, random other cards. So let's Night's Whisper. Okay, Mystic Confluence is good. Yogg Will is also decent. Can Mystic Confluence next turn? Hopefully this is not a Teferi. That would make my life a lot harder. They dash Ragavan. They exile Forest. And then they loot, ditching a mountain. And they play a Taiga. Then they Chain Lightning my face to be aggressive. Okay, we'll play an island, so we have access to Mystic Confluence. I think I'm going to probe, even though, like, I'm being pressured on my life total here, because they have a Winter Orb. And they will be able to play a Winter Orb. They've not seen Mystic Confluence, I think, under any circumstances, so they're going to dash Ragavan. That's fine. They attack me for 3. Okay. So they make a treasure, they exile Lotus Bloom, which they can't actually suspend, because suspend specifically calls out rather than casting this card from your hand. And they loot away a Breeding Pool. So I think the play is, if they cast Winter Orb, we Mana Leak, draw. Okay, they fetch and shock. Is it Signet? Okay. So their hand is Winter Orb, Huntmaster, and Ragavan's going back to their hand at end of turn. So we're going to triple draw here. Good old, what is it, Jace's Ingenuity? Okay, that makes this a lot easier. Mana Leak, not very important. Okay, so I play a land. We have 6. I can Cabal Ritual up to 7. I can Turnabout just to gain a little extra mana. I can't really get to Threshold. I could do a little mini Tendrils just to... can I Tendrils, Yogg Will Tendrils in any way? No, if I had one more land, I could get a lot more mana off of a Turnabout, but Turnabout right now is just like free Storm Count. So this might be like Cabal Ritual into Time Spiral or something. Let me think about this. So I can Cabal Ritual, and that takes me from 6 to 7. I can then Turnabout for 0 mana, getting to 5 cards in grave. I could Yogg Will. Let's see. Let me actually do this. Cabal Ritual, Turnabout, Yogg Will. So 7, free, 4. Turnabout, Cabal Ritual again, going up to 5. Probe, drawing a card. But if I Night's Whisper, I can't Tendrils. And if I Tendrils, I can't win. I have to get to 9 to win the game. So I think I cast my rituals here and then Time Spiral, which does reload my opponent's hand. Unless I was to draw something really good off of Probe. But Time Spiral doesn't even give me that much mana. I only get 4 mana post Time Spiral. So maybe I Cabal Ritual, Turnabout Tendrils, leaving my lands untapped, and then pass, because that gives me some life, and next turn I can, like, Yogg Will, cast a bunch of stuff out of my grave with 1 extra mana, and then that doesn't reload their hand. I think that's the play. So we Cabal Ritual, Turnabout, land, untap, Tendrils. Okay. Pass the turn. I still have Mana Leak, too, so if they just try to, like, run out Huntmaster after dashing Ragavan, I'm pretty sure I can counter it. If they try and play something huge, I can counter it. Okay, they dash Ragavan. They hit me for 3. So they get to loot. They exile a swamp. That's kind of good, because we really didn't want to draw land. We're holding so many. I can also just Time Spiral. They ditch Winter Orb. Okay. So if they play Huntmaster, okay, they played a land, so they can actually play Huntmaster through a mana leak. Phyrexian Revoker is a problem, because they can name Soul Ring, and that cuts us off of 2 mana, and I can't do anything about it, so we have to let that resolve. They don't know about Mana Leak, and we need to Mana Leak Huntmaster. If I Mana Leak Phyrexian Revoker, they just pay for it and then cast Huntmaster next turn, whereas we can actually answer Huntmaster. Okay. Mana Leak Huntmaster. I wish they had cast those in the opposite order, I think. Then they pick up Ragavan to the dash ability. We untap. We draw Bone Shards. Bone Shards is 1 mana and it gets us 2. Does that let me Time Spiral? They're holding Ragavan. I Bone Shards, ditching an island, I have Threshold. Then I can Yogwill, but no longer have black mana. And I'd have 3 mana. So I need to Bone Shards and then wait. I think. Or I can just cast Time Spiral. But I don't want to cast Time Spiral, potentially not have the Stormwind. And, like, then just pass turn for an opponent that has 7 cards in hand. So I think we can sandbag for a turn here. They dash Ragavan. They hit us for 3. So they get to exile our top card. It's an island. And then they loot away a Mox Pearl. And they play Nahiri, which specifies tapped artifact. Woo! I'm glad I didn't tap Soul Ring there. Okay, we draw Echo of Eons. Man, I wish I could have put that in my grave. Okay, so we play an island. Yeah, I think it's Yogwill time. Yawgmoth's Will. And we start with Cabal Ritual. 100%. Because we have Threshold. Then we probe our opponent. It's Ragavan, of course. I can Mystical Tutor if I want to get Brain Freeze, I guess. But we did just use like our only way to draw, I think. I could Bone Shards Nahiri, but if I discard anything, it gets exiled. We just Tendrils them to death, right? We only have to get to like 6 Storm count. So let's go ahead and turnabout ourselves. Land, untap. Then Mystical Tutor just for Storm. Putting Repeal on top of our deck. Yeah. Sick! Whew, that was a pretty tight navigation of that particular match, but I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, so round 3, we are on the play. We have Portent, we have green mana and Heartbeat. So we can hopefully use Portent to try and find black mana. And it really is only good at the beginning of the game, so I am going to keep this hand. If we find black mana and we can just cast Heartbeat, then we're good to go. Because we can Night's Whisper on the way up to that. Alright, play an island. Portent, ourself. Ooh, Swamp LED. I'm not super thrilled about Bolas's Citadel, but we put back Citadel, we put back LED, and then we put back Swamp. We will not shuffle. Pass the turn, we draw a Swamp. Opponent leads on Forest after mulliganing to 5. This could be a fast natural order. That would be bad for us. So Night's Whisper, we draw Island, Bolas's Citadel. Opponent plays Elvish Mystic, so Damnation definitely coming in post-board. We draw Mind's Desire. So I think we actually just slam Heartbeat of Spring here. Because that only gives our opponent 1 extra mana. It gives them 3 extra mana if they top deck a land, but it's extra good here because they kept a 1-lander with 2 dorks. And like even if they have like no lands, natural order for Craterhoof, that doesn't kill us. Natural order for Woodfall Primus would be really bad for us, because then they could take out Heartbeat of Spring, and how would we win? They play a Hex Drinker and a Tireless Tracker. Okay, I think we're safe. We draw a Soul Ring, which is good. So we play an island. I think we can just go off here. Play LED. Play... Can play a Soul Ring. We can play Wishclaw Talisman. right? We have 7 mana. We kind of need to Time Spiral. Oh, we have more than that because of Soul Ring. Duh. So we have the 9 mana. Okay, so we can play Wishclaw Talisman. We can hold control, cast Time Spiral, and crack LED for blue. Maybe black here, actually. Okay. Crack LED for black. Is there anything I want to cast before Time Spiral resolves that's an instant? I could Brain Freeze them. Ditch our hand for blue. Let's go ahead and draw 7. Untap our lands. And we're holding Brain Freeze Remand? So I guess it's Night's Whisper. I'm gonna go get Turnabout. Actually, I should probably get Tendrils. I don't have enough to Tendrils Remand Tendrils, though. I'm trying to think of what the best way to win is. Probe is 1 free storm count. The problem is if I Brain Freeze and they have an Eldrazi, then I have to, like, Echo of Eons or something. Let's go get Mind's Desire. That's our backup plan. So then we hold control, Brain Freeze, Remand Brain Freeze. Okay. Opponent can't beat a Brain Freeze. Alright. Bone Shards, Damnation Inn. Portent, thank you for your service. You were excellent in that last game, but we will likely not need your services in the upcoming game. And then I guess Thrawn Dynamo out. Try it like this. Whoo! We big-brained our way into a win. Love playing Storm. Yeah, this is pretty good. We can, like, repeal a Mana Dork. Not sure what we Mystical Tutor for. We Mystical Tutor for something. Opponent starts Forest, Uraga Tree Speaker. We draw Underground Sea. That's actually kind of nice. So we play an island. I could Probe now, but I'm not going to. If we had been on the play, or if we had had a Mox, we could, like, disrupt this Uraga Tree Speaker level up. So they're probably playing Upheaval. They play a Mystic and a Birds. So opponent has a ton of mana. We draw a Forest. Once again, sad that I cannot Mystical Tutor for Heartbeat of Spring. We will... Let's probe them here, actually. Draw a Yogwill. They have the Reality Chip. Can I actually Mana Leak the Reality Chip? They play it for 2. They have 4 mana left over. I cannot. But I can stop them from equipping it, and then I can put it back in their hand. So I think the name of the game right now is just Delay. Opponent plays a Rishadan Port. And they play the Reality Chip. So we'll go ahead and Mana Leak. They'll just pay for the Mana Leak. Now the question is, what am I repealing? What is going to be the most effective repeal to delay them? And I believe the answer is to repeal the Reality Chip. If they don't port me immediately, the play is going to be to repeal the Reality Chip in response to its reconfigure. Opponent plays a Forest. They did not port. They tapped all their blue mana. So they actually can't even replay it this turn. That's pretty big, actually. Because it forces them to use more of their mana next turn. Yeah, they tapped wrong for that. They hit us for 2, that's fine. We untap. They Porter Swamp, that's fine. We draw an island. Play an Underground Sea. Pass the turn. I could Mystical Tutor for Turnabout. Okay, they replay the Reality Chip. I guess they were trying to tap last turn in a way to keep port open. I can't stop them from equipping it this time. I can Mystical Tutor for Damnation. The problem is they're going to port a black source, guaranteed if I do. I think we're still going to wait on Mystical Tutor, because we might just Mystical Tutor for, like, Time Spiral. Yeah, they poured Underground Sea, that's fine. We draw Thirst for Discovery. So I'm going to play a Forest, and I'm going to pass. Because if I Thirst for Discovery, and I get another Swamp, it basically doesn't matter what they play off the top of their deck this turn. Oh, Cradle. Cradle is pretty big. There is a possibility that my opponent just casts a billion things off the top of their deck and then we brain freeze them to death. That is a thing that can happen. If they play a ton of stuff onto the board, we can just Mystical Tutor Damnation. If we draw a Swamp, 10 mana, 12 mana. This must be a Walking Ballista or a Hangerback Walker. Finale of Devastation X10. Ouch. Am I dead? They can get anything they want out of their deck. It's going to get +10/+10. If it's Hoof, I just die. If I had Mystical Tutored for Turnabout, I could Turnabout a creature and prevent it from attacking. That is a 2020 Progenitus. Alright, opponent, you got me. Like, that's how Gaia's Cradle works, that's for sure. Yeah, alright, we'll run it back. I think I waited too long on that Mystical Tutor. I was probably going to get Turnabout because I was holding Mind's Desire, so just the free extra storm and possibility to interact with my opponent was good. Okay, I like this. We have Mana Leak to interact. We have Night's Whisper. This isn't like a fast Turbo Storm hand. Maybe I'm supposed to mulligan because I do have 2 Storm payoffs in my hand, and like there's a distinct possibility that they're not very good. Damnation actually can deal with Hex Drinker, even though it has quote-unquote protection from sorceries. They're probably just leveling up, so I think I was supposed to cast Night's Whisper there. They're checking to see if I have Repeal. If they cast a Mana Elf, I would Mana Leak. Okay. Now I have Repeal. So I will Repeal in response to a level up. Because that's 4 mana for 2 mana, which is pretty huge. I do not want to Wishclaw Talisman until I'm comboing off. Okay, we draw an island. So play an island, Night's Whisper. LED Lotus Bloom. Suspend Lotus Bloom, pass the turn. We have Mana Leak now. We also will have Damnation. Tracker? Tracker does just die to Damnation. So I think we can wait on that. Like if they just land, then replay the Snake, Hex Drinker. Okay. Play a Dork. Okay, they level it up. That's fine. Yeah, unfortunately I can't like Damnation hold up Mana Leak, which would be even better. But this is a pretty good Damnation board. We draw Bolas' Citadel, which I will definitely be casting probably off of Lotus Bloom. Depends on what I draw, though. Opponent plays a Forest. We did use most of our interaction there, so if they have like an Elder Gargaroth here, that would be very bad for us, because we would die to that very quickly. Eternal Witness. Probably getting back... Oh, they're getting back Hex Drinker, okay. Like, Hex Drinker is good, but it is very, very mana inefficient, especially when it gets unsummoned. So Lotus Bloom coming off Suspend next turn. Play an island. I'm going to play a Wishclaw Talisman. This does open me up a little bit to a Rex Sage, because I can't Mana Leak a Rex Sage. I can also not Mana Leak a Hex Drinker. But I could Wishclaw Talisman for Yogwill. Or Time Spiral. 5 mana. It's probably getting Mana Leaked, whatever it is. Mana Leak. I play a Rishadan Port. I have no mana left. Do I Wishclaw Talisman? And if so, what do I get? I'm holding Mind's Desire. What would be... Oh, I can only activate as a sorcery. Activate only during your turn, okay. So we cast Lotus Bloom. We'll see what we draw. Storm count of 1. Island is pretty big because we can now just hardcast Mind's Desire. Do I just land Wishclaw for Yawgmoth's Will? No, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's the correct to do. The cool thing about this is, like, I can Lion's Eye Diamond whatever I don't end up casting, and then Wishclaw for a card to actually cast with Lion's Eye Diamond mana. So in a way, this is better than Demonic Tutor in that respect. I think we crack Lotus Bloom for black and play Bolus's Citadel, because we're at a high life total. Oh yeah, that was definitely the play. So we're back up to 5 mana. I can play Lion's Eye Diamond. I can Wishclaw. I can crack for blue, Wishclaw for Yawgwill, and cast a few things out of my grave while shuffling my deck in the process, which would be pretty good. I can Mind's Desire out of the grave, but I can't Mind's Desire right now. So I'm going to crack this for black, ditch my hand, activate Wishclaw Talisman, get Yawgwill, still land on top of the deck, cast Yawgmoth's Will, play LED, sack LED for blue or black. I think I did this wrong, actually, but I am casting a Mind's Desire, so sack for blue gets me to 7. I can then repeal the clue token, because they can't sack it, just for 1 more storm count. Still a land on top of the deck. Alright, now we Mind's Desire. Keeping an eye out for anything we can cast off the top of our deck with Bolus's Citadel. Remand. I can remand Mind's Desire. Do I do that? I don't know. Brain Freeze. Okay, I can Brain Freeze, remand Brain Freeze. Turnabout, myself, land, untap. There's a Mystical Tutor, so we can Mystical Tutor anything to the top of the deck and play it with Mind's Desire. Cast Thirst. Yeah, okay. Opponent's dead. We got there. Got the trophy with Storm, no less. But, like, this deck was insane. Like, look at, like, how good that would have been if we had had High Tide instead of Heartbeat of Spring. Like, our mana would have been way better. We wouldn't have had to splash a 3rd color, and we would have done some really busted things really quick. But there was a little bit of benefit, I think, in having Heartbeat of Spring in that, like, we could play it and then untap with it. So, like, you don't have to combo off the turn you play High Tide, so you get to use all of your lands with the mana doubling, including the swamps and whatnot. But I still think if we had had High Tide, this deck would have been insane. Absolutely crazy bonkers, and it was really good. So let's open up that treasure chest, shall we? We open a Vesuva and 10 play points. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this vintage cube as much as I am. Please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me over on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I usually stream at least once a week, so hopefully you can attend. There's a link to my Discord and Patreon in the video description. If you're interested in either of those things, the Discord is the best way to contact me or to contact, like, my Twitch and YouTube mods. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. You're wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!